Hello! Okay, so wedding season must be upon us because I've just been invited to my second bachelorette party of the year. So the theme for this party is fairy / midsummer. So I have decided that the aim is woodland whimsical. I'm going to be making this outfit in 3 parts. So I'll be doing a top, a skirt, and sleeves. This video is going to be focusing on my top. I'm going to be making a corset style top with lace up detailing on either side. I'm going to have gold embroidery on the front and back necklines and also down the front of the top. I know I have given myself quite a lot to do, so I'm going to get started. If you want to see how I go making this woodland whimsical fairy top, then stick around. So to start with, I am going to make my fairy top. So I've actually created pattern pieces for my fairy top already. So I did this using my duct tape pattern method, and I've done a full step-by-step video on how I created these pattern pieces using duct tape for that. So if you would like to see exactly how I got to this point and for all of my individual pattern pieces, then go and check out that video. First things first, I'm gonna get all of my fairy top fabric pieces cut out. I'll also be using some painter's tape to label each of my fabric pieces as I go along. So I do this so that I know which side of the fabric is up, and of course, which piece of the fairy top it actually is. I hope this lighting does the fabric justice. I'm using this sort of forest green satin with some gold through it as the basis for my top and for my skirt as well. Those are my pieces of fabric all cut out. Time to add some interfacing. Firstly, I'm going to add a couple of sections of interfacing to the areas that will house my eyelets. I'm now going to do the full panel of my 2 front side sections that will also house the 3 centimeters of my eyelets, just to make them a bit stronger and because there'll be some embroidery going on the front. Next, I'll be sewing up 8 out of my 12 top pieces. So starting by sewing together the 2 back pieces and then moving on to 6 front pieces. So I'm just doing right side to right side, and then we'll pin up my 1 centimeter seam allowance and then stitch. Now onto my front 6 pieces, so I'll just be attaching each right side to right side and stitching my 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, and those are my 2 back pieces and my 6 front pieces sewn together. Next, I'll be adding in my boning to the front of my top. So I won't be adding a piece to the very middle, but I'll be adding 4 pieces, so 2 on the left, and then 2 on the right as well. So because I've got centimeter seam allowances, I'll be measuring 1.5 from the top and 1.5 from the base, stitching the boning into my seam allowances, which I'll show you, and then top stitching them all closed. I'm quickly just pressing my boning flat. Next, I'm marking out 1.5 from the bottom and 1.5 from the top on those 4 seams where I'll be adding in my boning. So I'm just making sure to do that on the side that the boning will be attached to. So my boning will always point towards the middle. So on the left, these seams will be flipped towards the right, and on the right side for these 2, they'll be flipped towards the middle, so towards the left. So starting with the left side, and then heat sealing. Now I'll be attaching that piece of boning to my 1 centimeter seam allowance.
Before
before I go any further and top stitch that boning, I'm just gonna add on my leaf detailing to that front piece. So stitching these together and then sewing them to that top piece. Now I'm just stitching my leaf detailing on to that front top piece, making sure the join here of the two seams is perfect. This is how that leaf detailing has ended up looking on that front piece. So I used glue just to create my curves and sort of the intricacies of the leaves. Now I'm just top stitching my boning, so very carefully just going to the right slightly of the edge of the boning. And that is my boning all top stitched. Now I'm going to join the front and back pieces at the shoulder and then get to finishing off my hems. And that is my hem all sewn up. Time to add in my eyelets. To install my eyelets, I've got my usual little tools. So I've got a ruler, I've got a couple of pens, I've got some scissors, I've got my fabric hole punch, I have my little mallet, and then of course my little eyelet kit that I will be using to install the eyelets and that come with the actual eyelets as well. I'll start by marking out where I want my top eyelet to go, my bottom eyelet to go, and that will inform where the rest of my eyelets sit. Now I've marked out where I roughly want my eyelets to go and how many I want. Now I'll mark up the spacing, but on the back side of this front piece of the top. Now I'm slipping each of my eyelets into the holes. I've pushed all my eyelets through. Now I'm going to flip them over and use my little tool and the washers for the matching sides to put them in. So to add in my eyelet, I'm just popping each on top of my little tool, placing the washer over the top, bumpy side up so it looks more unfinished, the side that's up, placing my other little tool for my kit in, giving it a few hammers, and that is my eyelet all in. I'll do the same for the rest of the eyelets and then show you how I replicate it for my other sides. Alrighty, and that is my first row of eyelets. To repeat the same on my other three edges, I am just taking the eyelets I just did, putting them against the opposite side on the front, and then just lining up the seams, and then I will just mark out exactly through all the eyelets. And those are my eyelets all added into my top. I'm gonna try this on with the tie and then get to the fun part, adding in my gold embellishments. Super happy with how those eyelets turned out. This is the fit so far. Let's get to embellishing. So I bought a couple of sets of gold embellishments. So on the left, we've got some gold flowers with a pearl in the middle. And then on the right, I've got butterflies. Now I'm gonna trim these all off the lace that's joining them and then get them stuck on lightly to the top. And that is my two piles. I've got my gold flowers and my gold butterflies. Let's get them attached. Now I'm just laying out my embroidery in a way I think I might like it. And then I will go ahead and use some of my shoe glue to stick them down. Alright, and that is the embroidery all done for the front and the back. Let me quickly talk through how I did the sleeves. I've also made a pair of green chiffon sleeves to go with my fairy dress. I've done a full step-by-step video separately for these, so you can go and check that out if you want to see how to make them for yourself. And this is how my 3-layered flower skirt turned out. Keep an eye out for the video. My midsummer fairy top all finished. Look out for the videos on how I made the duct tape top pattern, the skirt and the sleeves, and as per usual, I'll see you in the next video.